In the Warhammer 40k universe, Xenos is the catch-all term that humans use for any life form that just basically isn't human or a spooky demonic creature from the warp. So in plain sight, the 40k Xenos races, they're basically all of the cool aliens that you see running around. There are 8 primary Xenos races in Warhammer 40k, and each one sort of has its own rich lore, codex rulebook, and a variety of models. I'm going to give a brief overview of each one, but as always, if there's one that you'd like me to cover in more detail, please let me know in the comments. Let's start with Leagues of Votann. Launched only in September 2022, while they might look humanoid, they're actually definitely in the Xenos camp. They have zero love for the Emperor. These kin originally hailed from Terra, but they've been off gallivanting in the dangerous galactic core for ages, becoming a tough-as-nails clone race, and they've carved out a nice territory, mostly avoiding conflict with other races. But how do they do it? With some of the galaxy's coolest tech, giving them some effective weapons and armor that have fans saying like, oh my god, they're so overpowered. These space dwarves, they're a force to be reckoned with in close quarters, and they know it. The pointy-eared, psychic space elves known as the Eldar, now called the Eldari for legal reasons, are one of the oldest and most prominent alien races in Warhammer 40k. They were ruling the galaxy long before humans even existed. The Eldari are the shattered remnants of a once great empire with splinter factions trying to save their souls from the chaos god Slaanesh, whose birth cursed them all. And this explains why they're not exactly the cheeriest bunch. There are technically 3 independent Eldari armies that you can collect. You've got Craftworlds, Harlequins, and Ynnari. Then we've got Drukhari. The Drukhari are formerly known as Dark Eldar, and they are like twisted space elves with poisoned nails and knife corsets. Descendants of the corrupt Eldari, they escaped their empire's collapse, and they now lurk in the webway, creating like a spiky, sadistic hideout. Their need for extreme pain is their only way to avoid being devoured by the she who thirsts. Running out of victims means they end up in Slaanesh's belly for eternity. Basically, they just continue as wicked space pirates in impractical BDSM gear, and they wear that badge with pride. Necrons! These metal cyber mummies with glowing green bits are the Imperium's main focus in 40k, and you can't miss them. As the oldest known Xenos race, the Necrons date back to like way before the mysterious war in Haven, and once a noble empire limited by short lifespans, they went through a tragic transformation that granted them immortality, but it trapped them in soulless metal bodies. In despair, the Necron royalty, they put their entire race into stasis in massive underground tombs, waiting for the right moment to conquer the galaxy and reclaim their former glory. Meet the Tau Empire, the galaxy's youngest Xenos faction. They operate under a strict caste system. With ethereals at the top, they're known for being surprisingly merciful to those they conquer, much more so than bloodthirsty humans. Notoriously weak in close combat, they do everything they can. They're fire warrior, rifleman, samurai-inspired battlesuits. That was a mouthful. And bug-winged mercenaries out of melee fights. Then we've got Tyranids, probably thanks to Space Marine 2. You're most likely familiar, aside Orks, with Tyranids. Terrifying insectoid monsters that just seem ready to burst out of the box and eat your face. These unstoppable biological forces, they come from deep space, intent on consuming every living thing in their path. Tyranids, they adapt and evolve rapidly, taking on whatever form they need to hunt and devour their prey, whether it's a frightened child, a towering space marine, or a vast forest. They advance relentlessly, planet by planet, in huge organic fleets called hive fleets, spreading like their self-replicating spores, and methodically sort of stripping every world of life until it's only barren and nothing remains. It's pretty depressing. Gene stealer cults, they're like futuristic marine worker types with a creepy glint in their eye. It's a sign that they're transforming into terrifying insectoid monsters. This relatively new 40k army has quickly become popular for its unique game mechanics and gripping backstory, tapping into classic sci-fi horror. Gene stealers are the Tyranids' vanguard, essentially sneaking onto planets to inject their genetic material into local life forms, creating these human gene stealer hybrids. These hybrids are driven by strong along insects, spreading their like genetic curse from underground cells in major cities, ensuring that when the main Tyranid forces arrive, there's literally no real defense left. Then the feasting begins and it never ends until there's nothing. And of course, orcs. Orcs are the big, mean, green killing machines who love to fight. Their battle strategy is simple: gather as many orcs as possible and grab sharp objects, and then charge at the enemy while screaming. Winning or losing, it doesn't matter. What counts is just having a good old scrap. Surprisingly, the orcs are an ancient race, dating way back to the War in the Haven, when they were created as the ultimate warriors. But unlike the Eldari and the Necrons, their history, it doesn't affect their role in the 41st millennium or their outlook. Orcs, they just don't care. They don't care about their origins. Their only semblance of religion is literally like a vague worship of two gods: Gork, who is brutal and cunning, and Mork, who is cunning and brutal. Anyway, if you enjoyed this very brief overview of Xenos, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Warhammer content, and ring the bell, of course, for notifications on our latest videos. Don't forget that one. Thank you for watching, and until next time, let's go. May your dice rolls be high and your battles be glorious. Catch you in the next video.